Sounds like freedom.
You want to tell me how you think it went?
It went relatively well. I was expecting the Supreme Court-ists, the robes, to ask some very critical questions of both sides, and they did. One of the justices seemed very concerned about the things that have been going on in this case, so it seemed like they may have had the facts wrong about what was actually happening. One of the points that I wish had been brought up is that, as far as public safety is concerned, a parking enforcer testified on the stand during the 3-day hearing that the only safety issues she's observed has been safety of the Robin Hooders, because people that are violent want to hurt them based on the rumors and the lies that have been told about them. So I thought that would have been a good thing to point out, is that there is a safety issue here, and it's people attacking Robin Hooders. There are multiple criminal cases against people attacking Robin Hooders. Or people that they think are Robin Hooders. So it is, I thought in that sense, the full learning experience from this whole experiment of Robin Hooding hasn't really come to fruition, but you can expect the courts to be a little bit behind people in their own understanding and analysis of the situations. Because how hard is it to just organize all those facts and have all those all that knowledge about what has happened? Jon Meyer and Charlie Bauer, put a good amount of time into it. Jon Meyer much more, because Charlie Bauer, if you saw in the last few court hearings, was not all that prepared, did not have many of the facts right. They were juggling things between different attorneys at that law firm. So, yeah, it was great to see so many people come out for this very important, very special case. And I thought that the justices seemed a little naive as to what their own laws are here in New Hampshire. Some of the conduct they were describing was stalking under the law, yet they did not bring it up. It was Jon Meyer who brought it up. Well, there is a law that deals with that. It seemed like they were very confused about those sorts of things, and about what qualifies as assault. And also, they kept citing a case that I believe was overturned. I think it might be Madison, and it's related to abortion clinic buffer zones. We do have a place that does get protested with anti-abortion protesters in Keene. I don't believe that they perform abortions there. But I've never heard of safety issues there either, though people have summoned the police over that sort of thing.
Any other thoughts?
Oh, it's a great day for Robin Hood. I can't wait to hear what the decision is, and I'm expecting, of course, that it'll be in our favor, because there's really no reason for a decision otherwise. And it's great to see the bureaucrats come out and try and defend their institutions. One of the things that Charlie Bauer said was that we shouldn't arrest people for doing these protests, even if they commit assault. Even if they do possibly injure someone, that they shouldn't be arrested, because that would be squashing free speech. And I appreciated that sentiment, though I thought it was maybe said under the duress of trying to defend this case from a very strange perspective on his end.
All right, thank you. Can I grab you for a second? I overheard you saying something. What you meant by that?
Well, yes, I think the distinction here should be between someone who is a public official and someone who's a private person. One of the justices had asked, well, what would happen if someone was following, me around? And as a public official, while it would be uncomfortable, I think that's entirely protected by the First Amendment. So the distinction should always be made between people who work for us, the government, and state and public officials. There are different rules because they are our employees. So, it's probably, I wouldn't enjoy it, but if you're a private citizen and someone follows you around, you do have recourse. If you're a public citizen, I believe that you don't have recourse, because that's what the First Amendment is.
A court case was referenced today by the Supreme Court called Garrick.
Yes.
You're Garrick.
Yes, I am.
How does that have relevance here?
So in that case, we took it all the way to the First Circuit, and basically there established that we have the right to film police officers and public in the execution of their
behavior was assaultive or abusive or harassing.
Not at all. Anyway, those are libelous claims. As far as I'm concerned, we have hundreds of hours of video of the Robin Hooding actions happening, and there were 3 full days of evidentiary hearings. If the city had any evidence of those things happening, we certainly could have presented that evidence, and if they had any evidence of that happening, they also could have brought criminal harassment charges, which they couldn't do. So basically, they've just been telling lies this whole time.
Why are you doing this?
Why am I doing what?
Why go after these, not go after, but follow these parking meters?
We're looking at it the wrong way. Robin Hooding, what we do in Keene, is done to save people from getting parking tickets. And the best way to save somebody from getting a parking ticket is to not follow the parking enforcement, to walk in front of them. So technically they're following us when we're doing the Robin Hooding. So we want to reach a parking meter before the parking enforcer can to feed coins into it. So the issue only has become apparent when they brought this lawsuit against us, which has been ridiculous.
But doesn't that seem like you're just sort of mincing words, they're following you versus you following them? And the issue is really, how close, what they say is how close you were to them and things that were being said to these people.
Sure, and as I said, they've just been telling lies. So my job as a Robin Hooder is to fill meters. So I don't want to be close to them because when I fill a meter, I then have to leave a card on the windshield. So all the time that it's taking me to fill a meter, then go to the windshield, leave the card, the parking enforcer's closing the gap. So I actually want to be there.
The more you can get in the media, the more you win.
Without them writing a ticket. So the whole idea that somebody's been 12 inches away from someone's face is ridiculous.
And what about the issue of free speech? I mean, is this a matter of speech or is this a matter of free parking meters? Or is it both?
Well, the primary motivation is to fill people's parking meters to save people from getting tickets. But in that process, there's conversations that happen. I mean, some of the Robin Hooders have been out on the streets for hours in, relatively close proximity, meaning a few feet away from the parking enforcer. So conversations have occurred. And if I tell those people how I feel about what they do, which I think they're threatening people. Every ticket that's left on somebody's windshield is a threat to steal that person's car, ultimately. So if I let that parking enforcer know how I feel about their job, they get offended by that because they don't want to feel like they're threatening people. They don't want to feel like they're doing a bad thing. I think they are, and it's certainly my freedom of speech to be able to express that. And in their own job description, which was filed with the court with the initial case, their job description says they're supposed to endure verbal and mental harassment, which is not what I don't think we're doing. It's verbal and mental abuse is actually the way it's phrased in their job description, which I don't see happening as far as the Robin Hooders go.
And why do you think that that's not what's happening? I mean, they say that people have quit, lost jobs.
Well, I'm sorry if they quit their job. That's certainly their prerogative. But letting somebody know how I feel about their job is not harassing. As a government employee, they're supposed to hear what people have to say about them. And what happens on the streets of Keene is nothing compared to what happens to parking enforcers in big cities where people insult them, and use terrible words and insulting phrases. We don't see that happening with Robin Hooders. I'm sorry they don't like me calling them a thief, but that's what they do. They steal from people. They steal people's cars. That's wrong.
Thank you. Thanks. Should we copy down your name?
Sure.
But there are certainly a lot of questions.
Well, I thought one of the most important points that didn't get brought up, that was brought up at the trial.
Ian?
Yeah, Ian Freeman.
Freeman, Freeman.
Stores 30 seconds of time.
That's what the title is.
Okay.
Also a blogger at freekeene.com.
I read an article on the WMUR that said they were using the same sort of system, but I'm not.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, Garrett. He's been on
I probably
a whole lot more.
I say I probably spend the most amount of time on the streets with the parking enforcers.
Mm-hmm. And you follow them with that camera?
Yes, this is the rig I use. Sometimes at my side, sometimes I'm holding it up trying to get a steady shot. And one of the points that I thought would have been most important to bring up during this hearing that was only brought up at trial was that there are safety issues raised by Robin Hooding, and that is that there are some thugs in the city of Keene that will attack Robin Hooders, and we have video documentation of this. They will do it thinking that the parking enforcers are on their side or cool with it or something. Parking enforcers have called the police for our safety multiple times. They've never called no one's ever called the police out of, as far as I know, out of concern for their safety. So I believe in keeping people safe. I'm actually the person who manages Keene Peaceful Streets, which is a community organization to raise awareness for crime and issues of just quality of life in Keene. And so the safety issue raised by Robin Hooding is the reaction to these rumors and these lies that you don't hear from the parking enforcers, you hear from the rumor mills in Keene, people that don't have that high a quality of life, that are spreading terrible, that just are interested in gossiping about people. If you watch our videos, if you watch the whole trial, you'll see where the parking enforcers talk about this, our safety is at threat. Is threatened, not theirs. So that's something to consider here. It seems that the Supreme Court justices had some of their facts wrong in that they were saying about people waiting outside of the bathrooms. That was another one of those allegations that Jon Meyer had mentioned was unsubstantiated. There was nowhere in court where a parking enforcer once talked about someone waiting outside a bathroom for them. Yet somehow it's a rumor that just gets around that people repeat. It's even repeated here. So you don't go to a courthouse to find truth. You look at objective records. A video camera is a beautiful invention. Audio recordings. These things are objective records that can demonstrate for us what really happens and how people interact. I'd like to think that people are learning from the videos that I produce and put out at Freeman TV Raw, from the television show I produce with those videos in Keene called AKPF number 1. If people would share this media and understand it rather than wanting to critique and condemn it, I understand that it's more popular to involve like hate and anger and those strong emotions, but I believe in peace. I believe in being positive with people, being respectful of people. I don't think anyone should be insulted or harassed for any reason unless they're insulting and harassing others. So I definitely don't appreciate the position that the City of Keene's attorney has taken in this case. But again, he hasn't really invested the time to look at all those videos and review what we've done. He's just being paid to work by the hour. Fortunately, we had an attorney that stepped up that actually cared about this case and thought that our rights are being violated and put in his time and his effort to ensure that our rights are being protected. I didn't think this was a free speech activity until it began to be infringed, my ability to just express myself and be out in public with a video camera and talking to people, whether the parking enforcers want to talk or not. If they don't, I won't talk to them. I'm respectful of everybody, regardless of their job.
Thank you. Can I copy down your name too?
Sure.
Well, welcome back to the land of the living. It's good to be out.
Is your counsel still there?
Definitely good to be out.
The thing is, that's such a reason.
Now I gotta find the
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Garrett Ian. First name Garrett. 1 R, 2 R's, 1 T. Yeah.
Garrett Ian?
Yes, EAN is the last name.
EAN.
Yeah, E, not an I.
Are we one of the defendants?
Yep. My name's probably spelled wrong in the case on multiple cases.
Oh, really? The way he described it, it sounded like it was voluntary.
You're one of the Robin Hooders.
Mm-hmm. My name's spelled an E and not an N. That last name, EAN.
Oh, EAN. I'm sorry. I was thinking about him.
And yeah, I've lived in Keene about 2.5 years, and I've been Robin Hooding consistently since the beginning of 2012. Or actually, no, 2013, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, who was that? Tip?
All right, let's get your counsel.
Gotcha.
Oh, Jon Meyer is the attorney?
To life, the remaining 2.5
I
years of probation, so it's like 5 days.
I don't see
in
John
jail
still
for
here,
1 day.
but yeah, I know how to spell his name if you need to spell it
5 days
properly.
off.
Jon.
And I thought that was a pretty
Last
good
name
trade.
Meyer.
You know, we asked for 3 months instead of 6 months. The prosecutor asked for a year in jail and continued probation.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So it was nice to be able to have the probation officer actually looking at the prosecutor.
I'm not a public employee.
And what you want? No, it's fine. It's fine. What your vision is for the future for the city of Keene, and is it a bigger issue of a slippery slope? If the Supreme Court does come back and say, yes, we're going to establish a buffer zone.
So I do have concerns about the buffer zone. Number one, so they were bringing up a lot of hypotheticals. Imagine a situation where I have all the intention of staying in front, abiding by the zone. I come up to a crosswalk. I'm now impeded by traffic. I'm waiting for the signal. And then the parking officer approaches me. Do I have to move away, or am I going to be arrested? I don't know how these things would work. Is it incumbent just on me to maintain the buffer zone, or should the parking officer also have to try to respect it? So there's all kinds of problems problems I foresee with the buffer zone. And there could even be times where I'm eating downtown, they have sidewalk tables, the parking officer walks by me, now am I in violation of the buffer zone? There's all kinds of problems that I have with this buffer zone. And all the other cases, the abortion case that they brought up where a buffer zone was upheld, number one, as Jon Meyer pointed out, there is an established history of violence. There are violent acts occurring. The groups that they imposed it against have history of violence. We have no history of violence. None of the individuals are violent people. We're all about peace. Number two, it was a fixed location. So a floating buffer zone, like I mentioned, is very difficult to abide by. A fixed, it's a little bit easier.